At the sound of Lanwin's sharp whistle, Eleanor signaled a halt. Dismounting, she walked over to where the young woman knelt on the muddy river bank. Crouching down, she looked closely at the torn bank. "What is this?" "Tracks, lady. Some creature, smaller than a man, but not by much, crouched here for some time. See these gouges in the bank?" Her finger deftly picked out the trace markings. The bank slid in and took something along for the ride. It clambered out again quickly, but see, these marks look like they were made by fingers. What was it doing here? The Dale woman smiled, pushing aside broken grass to reveal a small pile of gnawed fish bones. "Fishing, lady." "Well done," Eleanor congratulated her. "We must be close. Whatever purpose the Dark Lord sees in this creature, he will not obtain it." As quickly as it had come, the smile was gone, and it seemed like a cloud passed over her face. Then it, too, was gone, replaced by a look of steel and ice. With only the barest pause, Eleanor went on. "Mithrandir left instructions with me to meet a messenger at the river fork near here. Some sort of northern ranger, he knows. I'm not entirely sure what aid he can offer us, but I am not of a mind to second-guess a wizard today." Hello, I am Onitzen, and this is Agents of the White Council, my narrative campaign for Lord of the Rings the card game by Fantasy Flight Games, in which I follow a group of heroes as they quest across the length and breadth of Middle-earth, fighting back against the Shadow in the east. Today we will be playing The Hunt for Gollum, the first quest in the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our decks and our opening hands. Deck 1 is a simple variation on our very, very familiar and comfortable by now Lanwin, Eleanor, Thalin deck. We've used it several times before, and we'll be using it or a variation of it many times in the future, so get used to it and get comfortable with it. I'm actually very pleased with the way the variations of this deck have played out. I quite like the flexibility it offers. Our opening hand is a little light on spirit cards and a little heavy on tactics, and in particular doesn't even have the spirit cards I'm most interested in, so we're going to just go ahead and take a mulligan. Particularly, Silver Harp was what I was interested in. Gather information will also be useful. This is a quest in which we don't care to advance too quickly. In fact, if we advance too fast, we'll end up finding ourselves bouncing back and forth between stages of the quest until we find some signs of Gollum. And gather information will serve two purposes. It'll let us stay on the easier stage 1 a little longer, and it will also let us find key pieces to our decks. So, deck 2 is kind of a standard Sylvan deck. Celeborn and Galadriel as primary heroes because of the immense flexibility they offer the Sylvan deck. And Aragorn as a slightly unconventional choice for a third hero. I chose him for a number of reasons. First, because with his attachments, he can eventually become able to pay for Sylvan allies of any sphere of influence, which is really useful because a Sylvan deck really, really wants to be able to pay for lots of different spheres of cards, and also because, well, canonically this is Aragorn's quest in the game, and it borders on heresy to try to run a narrative in which Aragorn isn't the prime mover in the hunt for Gollum. If anything is Aragorn's quest, this is sort of his signature thing he does before the books. So, this opening hand has got a bunch of leadership cards. This is actually not a bad opening hand. It's nice to have Celebrian Stone and Rohirrim. We're going to start off being able to get access to get Aragorn access to Spirit and Tactics resources. We don't have any Spirit or Tactics cards to play with it. We have the tree people, but we don't have a lore icon to play it with yet. We do have some cost reduction. We could get a Greenwood Archer into play. But particularly what I'm really looking for in an opening hand for deck 2 is the Mirror of Galadriel, and it's not there, so I'm going to take a mulligan to find it. Because if we find it, then anything we have, or anything we wanted that we didn't get, can be found with the mirror. And it looks like we didn't get the mirror. Let's go ahead and do the little bit of octagon fiddling to get the window that's being streamed control over the deck and the hand there. But we did get Nenya. We have a lore icon now. We can sneak attack Gandalf if we really need to. We can get a Nath Guide out. I mean, as hands go, that's about as good as the one we started with. Not better, but about as good. So we didn't lose much. So, having taken a look at that, done both of our mulligans, we'll probably end up fetching the mirror with gather information. That's fine. Let's go ahead and start our quest. The hunt begins. Gandalf has requested your assistance in the search for the elusive creature known as Gollum. Your search begins in the Anduin Valley between Mirkwood Forest and the Misty Mountains. As an aside, that's an immense area to search, but I never really did understand how Aragorn could track Gollum from the edge of Mirkwood all the way down to the Dead Marshes after so much time had passed. Incredible tracker. Incredible. Anyways, for setup, we reveal one card per player from the encounter deck, add it to the staging area. Our first card is River Ninglor. That's not going to be a problem. And a second copy of River Ninglor. Alright then. And we'll advance to stage 1B. You make your way along the banks of the Anduin River, a likely place for Gollum to find food. So after we quest successfully, the first player is going to look at the top 3 cards in the encounter deck, reveal and add 1 to the staging area, discarding the other 2. That is going to be not much of a problem since it's after questing. It doesn't add threat to the staging area. Well, it'll add threat to the staging area potentially for next round, but it won't affect this round's questing. So it's the first stage has got the much easier forced effect. The second quest stage is going to force us to look and add 1 of those cards before we commit characters to the quest, which will increase the threat in the staging area. But historically, I have not found that to be an issue. So let's go ahead and start the game. Draw our first cards. We draw Arwen, always nice to see, and a second copy of Rohirrim. That was unfortunate. You know, Galadriel is just going to go ahead, reduce deck 2's threat, and draw another card. Oh, well then, Olorian. That could be useful. Since we don't have the mirror, playing the Silver Harp isn't going to be particularly useful. So let's start by getting Arwen into play. Arwen is going to start, for the moment, consistently targeting Eleanor. Which means Eleanor will be, as long as Arwen's questing, a 3 defense hero. 3 defense, 3 hit points. That's now actually pretty respectable. We will save for the Honor Guard. Let's also play Gather Information and a Dunedain Pathfinder. Let's look at the top 5 cards. Adding, none of them are locations. That's slightly annoying. And we won't get our Dunedain Pathfinder. I really wish that had turned out some other way. Oh well. For deck 2, I think the appropriate response is to start by spending a resource on Olorian, exhausting Olorian, and spending a resource on the Greenwood Archer, readying Galadriel, and then playing Nenya with Galadriel's resource. Galadriel now has a lore icon. That will be very useful. And we are going to start by questing hard and seeing if we can gather information in the first round. We'll pick up the mirror for deck 1, and I don't know what we'll pick up. Or the mirror for deck 2, I don't know what we'll pick up for deck 1. We'll take a look at it. Maybe an unexpected courage for Lanwin, maybe a dagger of Westerness also for Lanwin. We'll see. Anyways, going ahead and questing. 2, 4, 5. Oh, and the Greenwood Archer gets its benefits from Celeborn. 6, it will quest without exhausting, and it actually has a willpower to do so now. So we have 6 willpower, 8, 11, and because we can, Galadriel will add 4 to that. So we're going to quest for 15 against 4 threat in the staging area. First card we reveal is Eves of Mirkwood, followed by Hunters from Mordor. That's wonderful. So we've added 4 threat to the staging area. Maybe I shouldn't have left Aragorn there, or sent Aragorn on the quest. Should have saved him to attack. That's okay. The Hunters from Mordor take a damage from Thalen. And we're questing for 15 against 8 in the staging area. We make 7 progress on gather information. We have quested successfully. So we have to pick one of these to add to the staging area. I'm going to pick the Old Ford, which at the moment is only 2 threat, and we are going to travel to it. Then we will optionally engage the Hunters from Mordor over here with this deck, and Eleanor with her 3 defense will defend against the Hunters from Mordor. 3 defense, 2 attack. The Shadow card does nothing, and the Greenwood Archer will attack, 3 attack against 2 defense, dealing a 2nd point of damage. So far I'm okay with this. End of the round, we're going to lose the boost from Celeborn. Let's ready. Oh, and we cleared gather information. That is an important bit. So let's go ahead and grab the mirror right now. Shuffle the deck. And over here, what should we grab? Is there anything we're particularly in need of? Card draw, of course. Always in need of card draw. Unexpected courage, readying for Lanwin to be able to kill something. You know, I think I'm going to pull a Dagger of Westerness. Because we already have Foehammer in hand, this will let us trigger it and draw our cards. So, ready everybody? And we drew a magic ring. Of all the things we could have drawn, that was probably one of the best. And then over here we drew a 2nd copy of Olorian. Well, things could be worse. This deck is first player, so we'll play the mirror. And exhaust Olorian to play the Nath Guide, which will target Aragorn. Yes, Aragorn could spend the resource to use his ability, but his resources are going to be under significant pressure already. And I'd rather save it for The ability to play sneak attack if suddenly we find ourselves in an emergency situation. Like, I don't know, if we flip 2 signs of Gollum and each is guarded by another Hunters from Mordor, for example. There's 6 threat in the staging area, and we're not going to be questing for much more than we already are. In fact, we might lose some. Let's see, currently we need 6 attack to take down the Hunters from Mordor. We'll have 2, 4, 7 with Aragorn. Alright, so we can afford to leave Lanwin, to let Lanwin quest. Alright, deck 2 is now going to play a Dagger of Westerness onto Lanwin, and the Silver Harp onto Galadriel. And now deck 1 will use the Mirror and then the Harp to not have to discard a card. Look at the top 10. We won't be able to play the card we draw right now, but, well, if it's an event, we can. Ooh. That's a tempting prospect. Pull up the Tree People and start trading allies up. Yeah, I think I'll do that. All right. All right. Okay, we are going to go ahead and quest. 6 threat in the staging area. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 10 against 6. Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll see if we need to add Galadriel. The first card is the West Bank, and the second is the Gladden Fields. 12 threat in the staging area. We'll exhaust Galadriel and Nenya, making our willpower 14. That's enough to clear the old ford, and triggering our questing successfully a bit. Of these options, I would most prefer the Goblin Town Scavengers. They're revealed, so we'll discard a Gondorian Shield and Feigned Voices, so they only get 1 threat. And we will again optionally engage them right over here. We clear the old ford, and I'm not too concerned with threat. Well, I'm concerned with threat in the staging area, but I'm not concerned with my threat level, so let's go to the Gladden Fields, get it out of the way, and it's a better choice than making attachments and events more expensive, I think. So, over here, deal out our shadow cards. We're going to take the Goblin Town Scavengers undefended for the damage on Galadriel, and Eleanor with 3 defense will block the Hunters from Mordor. Double the base attack, so it's attacking for 4 against our 3 defense. We'll take a damage on Eleanor. That's fine. Next round we'll get out the magic ring and heal her. Now, I need 6 attack to kill that, and 3 to kill the Scavengers. Aragorn will kill the Scavengers, and Lanwin with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's more than enough to kill the hunters from Mordor. We'll exhaust the Dagger of Westerness and play Bowhammer to draw 3 cards. Very nice. I'm not going to complain about the way that went at all. And now we will play the Tree People to bring the Nth Guide back into our hand and look at the top 5 cards of our deck. Of all these allies, I think the one I want most at the moment is Galadriel's Handmaiden. I'm going to, actually there's no point in putting that on. I'm going to lose the boost from Celeborn because it's the end of the round, but lowering that threat will be nice. Let's draw our new card, another Gandalf. I did shuffle that, right? I did not shuffle after playing the Tree People. So, another sneak attack. Okay. I suppose that's alright. Alright, so deck 1 is first player. Could play an Honor Guard. What I'm going to do, though, is play an Ancient Matham. Oh, and Gladden Fields. That'll be important to remember. We each raised our threat by 1. So we're going to play the Ancient Matham on the Gladden Fields. Play Black Arrow on Lanwin. She can now kill a Hunters from Mordor with a single attack if she needs to. And we will spend 2 resources for Magic Ring onto Eleanor. And we have a resource saved for a Feint. That's fine. Over here, deck 2 uses the Mirror. Looking at the top 10 cards. We'll pull in a Weaver. And play the Weaver with Galadriel's resource. Shuffling the Tree People back in. Exhaust Olorian to play the Nth Guide for 1. Targeting Aragorn. And use Aragorn's resources to get Rohirrim into play. Alright, I think that's everything we can do, so let's go ahead and quest 2, 4, 5, 7, 10, 12, 14, 16, questing for 16 against 2, 4, 6, 9 in the staging area. The first card, Old Wives' Tales. Discard a hero, a resource, and exhaust any heroes that can't. Eleanor is going to cancel that one, I think. Instead, it's the Signs of Gollum, guarded by an evil storm, which fizzles. This is all still card 1 of staging. Evil storm. None of the players are above 35 threat, so it does nothing. The second card of staging is a Hunters from Mordor. So we've added 4 threat to the staging area. We make 3 progress. That'll be enough to clear the Gladden Fields, so I'm going to save Galadriel and use her ability. And we will do our we quested successfully, and therefore let's put something into the staging area. Let's get the old Ford into the staging area. We'll travel immediately to it. Currently it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threat. So we make our 3 progress on the Gladden Fields. Player 1 Draws 3 cards for the Ancient Matham. We'll travel to the Old Ford and optionally engage the Hunters, who took a damage from Thanet. And I think we're actually going to feint them because they are at 4 attack, and I don't have a defender strong enough to deal with that at the moment. So we're not going to use Rohirrim because that's only an extra damage onto it. So feinting it will attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the 8th guide, and that's enough to kill the Hunters. Well, oh, and we quested successfully, so we can, in theory, attach the Signs of Gollum to a hero if we like. I'm going to attach it to Aragorn. I think he was questing, and so quested successfully. And I will use the magic ring and raise my threat by 1 to heal the point of damage on Eleanor. And then, oh, I just read it, everybody, but I had been going to use Galadriel to reduce deck 2's threat by 1 and draw a card. I still had it ready for that express purpose. And let's use the mirror and the harp to look at the top 10 cards. Let's pull up a minstrel and shuffle, and then exhaust Olorian to play the minstrel. I accidentally added another damage to Galadriel there, giving it a boost to all of its stats. And looking at the top 5 cards of the deck, we can add an event to our hand. We'll add the Tree People, shuffle the deck, and play the Tree People to return the Weaver to hand, and look at the top 5 cards of the deck. And we will put Haldir into play. That is the perfect use case of the Tree People. Haldir also gets a boost from Celeborn. We've already used Olorian, so I could play another Nath Guide. Or I could play another Greenwood Archer and get double use out of Galadriel. Which feels more valuable. Aragorn not exhausting to quest, or getting double use out of Galadriel. I think actually I'd like to get double use out of Galadriel. So exhaust Galadriel to reduce threat by 1 and draw a card, and then spend those 2 resources to play a second Greenwood Archer to ready Galadriel. And now we have Protector of Lorien, so we can discard some of these duplicate uniques next round if we need to. And that's deck 2's turn. Deck 1 will use the magic ring to add a resource and raise our threat by 1, putting in Eleanor, and then spend all 3 of our spirit resources to get the Rovanian Outrider into play. I like doing that. Thematically, I think I have these in the write-ups being Lanwin's brothers. It's always nice to see one of them hit the table, and especially because we can start clearing some of these locations that I'd really rather not travel to. So, questing Arwen for 2. Let's leave Lanwin up because we have Foehammer. If an enemy shows up, I'd like to be able to draw cards off of it. So 2, 3, we'll put the progress token on the Eaves of Mirkwood, because that one will be able to clear quickly. quickly. And we boost its willpower. So 2, 4, 5 with Dalen, 6 with the Greenwood Archer that doesn't exhaust a quest, 7 with the Nath Guide, 9 with the Minstrel who also doesn't exhaust a quest, 11 with the Handmaiden, 14 with Haldir who doesn't exhaust a quest, 17 with Celeborn, and 21 once we've added Galadriel with Nenya. And 2, 4, 6. Again, 9 in the staging area. 21 against 9. If no threat is revealed, we'll end up immediately clearing the first stage of the quest, but that's fine. The first card is Misty Mountain Goblins. Takes a damage from Thalen. And the second card is the Banks of the Anduin. So we've added a grand total of 3. We make 9 progress. So that's 2 on the old ford and 7 on the hunt begins, and we will do our whole questing successfully bit. You know what? I'm just going to add another Misty Mountain Goblins. That seems better to me than well, I suppose I could choose this Treacherous Fog, which will fizzle. Fine. That's the better choice. The Treacherous Fog will... Every location gets +1 threat, but it doesn't matter because I've already finished questing for the round, and no player has a threat of 35 or higher. So, having cleared the old ford, we're now going to travel to the River Ninglor, and I will optionally engage the Misty Mountain Goblins right here. Deal them a shadow card. Eleanor defends. 3 attack, 3 defense, no damage. Lanwin will attack for 4, enough to kill it, and we will play Foehammer, drawing 3 more cards. Well, and we will move on to the next round. At the end of the round, the River Ninglor removes a progress token from the quest, and the Misty Mountain Goblins, when they attacked, did so as well. Alright. We drew Beaufort, which is good to see, and we drew Island Amid Perils. At some point, I'll probably be returning Haldir to hand for a threat reduction of 4, which is really nice off of a 0-cost event. So, let's organize our hand a little bit. Move the Hasty Strokes all together, pull the allies all together. I don't think I need more attack power, so let's get a Defender of Ramas into play. Arwen is now, for the foreseeable future, going to target the Defender of Ramas, who will now be a 5 defense Sentinel. And let's spend a resource to put a Ring of Barahir onto Aragorn, giving him an extra hit point, and the lore icon will save a resource to spend on either Hasty Stroke or Beaufort, depending on what we think we need. Deck 2 will spend Aragorn's resource on Protector of Lorien, and Aragorn himself will get Protector of Lorien, and Galadriel's resource on the Weaver, who will shuffle the Tree People back into the deck. And we will use the Mirror and the Harp to look at the top 10 cards and pull another card into hand. And out of all of these possible cards, I think the Tree People is the best of all the available choices. So we will use Tree People to return the Minstrel to hand, looking at the top 5 cards, adding Island Amid Perils to my hand. It's the only event out of the... No, that's not right. Now look at those four. It's an ally, not an event. Return the island amid perils to the deck. Sorry about that. I had the minstrel's effect in my mind because I'd pulled the minstrel back. The minstrel searches the top 5 for an event, but I played the tree people, which means I'm searching the top 5 for an ally. So let's get Orphan into play, because he's Haldir's brother after all. And I pulled the event I wrongly drew. I put it back into the deck. We'll shuffle it, placing the tree people into the discard pile, and Orphan, Haldir's brother, will get his boosts from Celeborn. I think I have enough attack power to kill a Mumak. Well, over time. You can't do more than 3 damage around to a Mumak. And just because I can, we'll exhaust Olorian to play a Nath Guide and tell Aragorn that he isn't exhausting to quest this round. So, let's go ahead and quest. Arwen, Lanwin, the Ravanian Outrider, which will clear the Eaves of Mirkwood, and because it explored the location, will not get its willpower boost. I'm okay with that because we just removed more threat from the staging area than we would have gotten from the willpower boost. So, 2, 4, 5, and 6 with Thalen, 8 with Aragorn, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21. 21 willpower against 2, 5, 6 threat in the staging area. First card is Goblin Town Scavengers, which is going to add 2, 4. When Orphan entered play, there was not a Sylvan ally in the discard pile. So unfortunately, his response didn't do me any good. That's the first card of staging, and the second card is the Eaves of Mirkwood. So we add 7 threat to the staging area. 13, which means we will make 8 progress, which is, and we've quested successfully. So of these options, I'm going to pick an Evil Storm, which does nothing. So 8 progress, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means we advance the quest. A new terror abroad. The wood was full of the rumor of him, dreadful tales, even among beasts and birds. The woodman said that there was some new terror abroad, a ghost that drank blood. Rumors have led you to the eaves of Mirkwood Forest, where the woodmen whisper of a new terror in the night. At the beginning of the quest phase, the first player looks at the top 2 cards and reveals and adds one of them to the staging area, discarding the other. That will add more threat to the staging area, and frankly, I'm not sure that I care. We're going to travel to the River Ninglor again. We've got to be thorough in our search. And we will optionally engage the Goblin Town Scavengers and trigger Rohirrim, exhausting Aragorn and his horse, to declare Aragorn as an attacker and resolve the attack against the enemy. 3 attack versus 0 defense and 3 hit points. We kill it. And that's all we needed. Let's remove the boosts from Celeborn. We remove a progress token from River Ninglor and a new terror abroad at the end of the round, but there's none to remove. So we ready everybody and draw our next card. Ancient Madam, and we'll draw a Weaver. Let's use the Mirror and the Harp to look at the top 10 cards. Of the available cards, let's Let's grab Hanemarth out of all the available cards. Shuffling the deck. Exhaust Olorian, using Galadriel's resource to play the Minstrel. Look at the top 5 cards. For an event, there are no events in the top 5 cards. And use Aragorn's resource, that was an accidental damage, to play Hanemarth. So, I think that's all that we have. We have a resource that we can use to play Sneak Attack if we so choose. And over here, let's go ahead and I'm not sure that there's anything particularly that I need to play here. I'm gonna save up for an honor guard with the tactics resources. I'm not sure that deck 2 really needs to draw any card. Well, deck 2 could use some card draw, I suppose. So let's go ahead and give deck 2 some card draw when we clear the River Ninglor. And let's also play a second Silver Harp on Galadriel. This way we can discard the Protector of Lorien at least once without ever losing the card in our hand. And then, if we turn out to really need Bofur, I can use the Rat Magic Ring or the Hasty Stroke. I can use the Magic Ring to give Eleanor a resource. So, let's go ahead and quest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9 with Hanemarth, 12 with Celeborn, 14 with the Outrider because it gets a willpower boost because it did not clear a location, 15 with Thalen, 17 with Arwen, 17 against 3, 4, 6. 17 against 6. And the ability to add 4 more if we want to. Plus the ability to discard to Protector of Lorien. Okay, so I think we're going to be just fine. The first card we reveal is Flooding. Remove all progress from Riverland locations, but the Eves of Mirkwood is a forest. It's also doomed 1 in Surge. So we could have quested with Lanwin, and perhaps should have. I wasn't thinking. So, card 1.1, Signs of Gollum, guarded by Eastern Crows, which would surge, but they are killed by Thalen before they can trigger that, which is an odd ruling and one I almost feel bad taking advantage of, but that's fine. And so card 2 of Staging is the East Bank. We've added 3 threat to the staging area, so we're questing 17 against 9. We make 8 progress, clearing the River Ninglor. Oh, I forgot to trigger the forced effect. That was Flooding and Signs of Gollum. Either of which would have surged into the crows. Let's pull those crows. was that? Sorry about my mistake there. So cancel that and the East Bank, right? So my choice would have been between flooding and the Signs of Gollum. Signs of Gollum would get guarded, flooding would surge, so either way there's going to be an additional card in the staging area. Flooding would doomed one and give me an additional card, whereas Signs of Gollum just gives me the additional card, so I probably would choose the Signs of Gollum over the flooding. So when I reveal the Signs of Gollum, it is guarded, and I would reveal the Eastern Crows. Since this happens at the beginning of the quest phase before I've committed characters to the quest, Thalen is not active, and so the Crows still surge into the East Bank. So all of that's been added before I commit characters to the quest. So now we've committed characters to the quest, and we will reveal our first card of staging, Pursued by Shadow. It would raise deck 1's threat by 3 and deck 2's threat by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't feel like it. So Eleanor will cancel Pursued by Shadow, instead revealing the Banks of the Anduin, and as a second card of staging, another Signs of Gollum, guarded by hunters from Mordor. Oh, well, that's lovely. Okay, so now let's parse this out. I preserved the card order for that because I realized it was all going to show up before staging, so I didn't need to shuffle anything to preserve the randomness. So glad I fixed that mistake, but also now we're in a spot more trouble than we were before. Take a point of damage, and 3, 4, 5, because we have 2 copies of the Banks of the Anduin, so let's just move them together. So 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus there are 3 clues in play, so it gets plus 6 threat and plus 6 attack. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 8, 19. Threat in the staging area. You know what? I'm going to exhaust the magic ring, raise my threat by 1, add a resource to Eleanor, and play Beaufort, exhausted and committed to the quest. We break even. I could use Protector of Lorien or Galadriel and Nenya to clear the location, but I'm fine with this. We break even. Beaufort does not return to my hand, and I can now deck 1, or deck 2 will optionally engage the Crows, and Aragorn and Rohirrim will send the Crows back to the encounter deck from whence they came. And deck 2, or deck 1, will optionally engage the hunters from Mordor. No, we'll leave it as it is. The hunters will naturally engage over with deck 2. And we'll block with a Greenwood Archer. We'll deal a shadow card first. Block with Greenwood Archer. No shadow effect. Greenwood Archer goes away. And Lanwin will add the black arrow to the victory display to kill the hunters from Mordor. Alright, and then Galadriel will reduce deck 1's threat and draw a card. Oh, a feint. That would have been nice to have a moment ago. Okay, ready everybody, and remove... Ready everybody, and remove the boosts from Celeborn. Oh, I probably ought to have used Henemarth's ability. That'll be alright, though. Use the mirror and the harp to grab a copy of the Tree People. Shuffle the deck. Play the Tree People. Bring the Weaver back to hand. Look at the top 5 cards of the deck. Put a Minstrel into play. Shuffle the top 5 cards of the deck. Or shuffle the deck. Look at the top 5 cards again. For the Minstrel's ability, there are no events. Shuffle again. Use Galadriel's resource to play the Weaver, shuffling the Tree People back into the deck. Well, that was fun. All right. And there is 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 threat in the staging area. The Eaves of Mirkwood will get cleared, though, this round, so there will be 8 threat in the staging area. We'll need 14 progress to clear this in a single round. We'll be effectively revealing 3 cards. If I commit just about everybody... Oh, and the second Minstrel, we should add the boosts from Celeborn. Oh, and really, before we play the Weaver, deck 1 should get its chance to play anything it wants, but it doesn't really... Oh, yes, it does. It wants the Honor Guard. And... No, Henemarth will wait. So... Is there anything we'll want to spend our leadership resources on? Well... Okay, at the start of the quest phase, before we do anything else, we look at the top 2 cards of the deck. We can bring in an 8 threat Hunters of Mordor or the Eastern Crows that surge. We'll bring in the Eastern Crows, which will surge into Pursued by Shadow, which Eleanor will cancel. And it will be replaced by the Gladden Fields. Deck 1 will raise their threat by 1 to ready Eleanor. So, there is now 11, 14 threat in the staging area. Before we've started questing, it'll be reduced to 12. We need to make 14 progress to clear this in a round, so questing, if we expect to reveal 6 threat, we'll want to be questing for something on the order of 32. So, let's sneak attack with Celeborn, or one of Celeborn's resources, put Gandalf into play, reducing our threat by 5. Gandalf does not exhaust the quest, so we'll get 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, clearing the eaves of Mirkwood. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. We're questing for 30. We can make it 34 with Galadriel and Nenya. There's currently 12 threat in the staging area, and we will use Henemarth to look at the first card of staging. It will be the East Bank. Okay. Yeah, we'll probably need Galadriel and Nenya. So, staging will reveal the East Bank and Eastern Crows, which will take a damage from Thalen and get shuffled back into the encounter deck. And at the moment they were revealed, the deck was empty, so we shuffle the discard pile back into the deck. So, we've added 3 threat. We're making 15 progress, which will be enough, and so Galadriel will use her ability to reduce deck 1's threat and draw a card. Alright, so we've successfully quested, so we will add Signs of Gollum to Lanwin, and 15 progress on the quest, clears the River Ninglor, the Ancient Matham. The first player is deck 1, who will draw 3 cards. Oh, that's very nice. We will travel to the Gladden Fields. Gandalf will return to hand. Optionally engage the Eastern Crows. Defend with the Defender of Ramas. The defending player chooses and returns an exhausted ally to their hand. I don't mind if I do. Let's return a Galadrim Minstrel. And then that Greenwood Archer will return the Eastern Crows to the encounter deck. Alright. We'll raise our threat by an additional 1. And then move on to the next round. Oh, and advance the quest. That might be kind of important. Let's flip it and read it. On the trail. But at the western edge of Mirkwood, the trail turned away. It wandered off southward and passed out of the Wood Elves' ken, and was lost. Any player who does not control a hero with at least 1 clue objective attached cannot commit characters to the quest. If there are ever no heroes with clue objectives attached, reset the quest deck. Aragorn has a clue objective, and Lanwin has a clue objective. And there's another one sitting up here that I can sacrifice to a false lead if it shows up. So, we could probably... Alright, let's use Galadriel to reduce deck 1's threat by 1 and draw a card. Unexpected Courage. Always useful, but not what I was hoping for. Kind of hoping for a Northern Tracker. Not that would have done anything. We're around too late for it to have made a difference. Let's play double back just because it's free. Put a Rivendell Bow on Aragorn just because we can. Oh, and really we should have started with this deck. So, not Nenya. The Mirror and the Harp. Looking at the top 10 cards. Grab the Tree People. Shuffle the deck. Lose Celeborn's bonuses from the last round. Play the Tree People, returning a Weaver to hand. To look at the top 5. And put a Greenwood Archer into play. Give it its boost from Celeborn. Play the Weaver to shuffle the Tree People back into the deck. Use a Lorien and a resource from Aragorn, who has a lore icon, to play a second Minstrel to look at the top 5 cards and add the Tree People back into hand. Shuffling it. Oh, and when the Greenwood Archer came into play, it readies Galadriel. Then let's play the Tree People again to return Henemarth to hand. Henemarth? To return a Nath Guide to hand. Bringing in a Galadon Archer. There's no enemies in play to deal a point of damage to, unfortunately, but that's alright. And then use Celeborn's 2 resources to play the Nath Guide and target Aragorn, who will not exhaust the quest. Alright. Just for the sake of score, I think we'll quest to double back. We could clear on the trail in a single round, but I'm going to quest to double back to drop my threat down. And then next turn we'll clear on the trail. Not that I care too much about score, but... well... you know what? No, I think we're fine. I think we're fine. We'll quest on the trail. 3, 4, 5, 8, 11. There's 11 threat in the staging area. We need to make 11 progress. Oh, and over here. We'll play the Unexpected Courage onto Lanwin, but I'm not going to bother it with anything else. Oh, and we did play the Rivendell bow onto Aragorn. So questing 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll put the progress onto one of the copies of the East Bank. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26. And I don't remember if that counted Aragorn or not, so let's count up again. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 23, 25, 26, 28. I hadn't counted Aragorn. Questing for 28, that's 17 progress. Plus Protector of Lorien and Galadriel and Nenya if we need. So I think all things considered, we are fine. Oh. And sneak attacking Gandalf for dropping our threat by 5, and an additional 4 willpower. So, 32 willpower against 11 threat. The first card we reveal is a Misty Mountain Goblins. The second is Hunters from Mordor. So that's 8, 10 threat revealed. Oh, wow. And we still make 11 progress, which will clear the Gladden Fields and on the trail. So before doing anything else, before actually resolving questing, I'll play Island Amid Perils to return Haldir of Lorien into my hand and reduce threat by 4. So deck 2 ends up with 23 threat. Deck 1 is actually stuck at 35, and we'll trigger Galadriel to reduce threat by 1 and draw a card. There we go. And now we will resolve questing. 32 willpower against 21 threat. Oh, the remaining, 21 threat. So 8, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We make 11 progress. 3 on the Gladden Fields, and 8 on the trail. And we have successfully found a true sign of Gollum's passing and won the game. Score's not bad. If we'd gone for another round and quested to double back, it would have been exactly the same, just 8 completed rounds and less threat. No, actually our score would have been 2 higher. So actually that's interesting to note. Double back is not helpful to the long-term score because the extra round it takes to complete cancels out the score difference between the reduced threat. Of course, it's useful for a number of other things. You don't play for score generally, so you play double back because you want your threat reduced, not because you want a better score. So it was the right choice to quest on the trail. So that was the hunt for Gollum. The decks functioned just about the way they were supposed to. We built Lanwin up into a credible attacker with all of the attack available from from the Sylvan allies. We probably didn't even need her. Aragorn never used his ability, but that was okay because the Nath Guide kept letting him quest without exhausting anyways. The Mirror and Silver Harp combination is remarkably powerful, as we saw. Eleanor never got her Gondorian shield, but that was okay. She didn't really need it. We got out a defender that was capable of handling most of the attacks, and then by the end the Hunters of Mordor were powerful enough that they were going to kill Eleanor no matter what we did. So that was our game. We even got to play Island Amid Perils and return Haldir to our hand for a 4 threat reduction. I love being able to do that. And then Sneak Attack Gandalf actually turned out to not really be crucial. If we hadn't Sneak Attacked him, we'd have got the same 4 willpower from Galadriel and Nenya and cleared the quest the same round. And if not, we'd have just defended against the Hunters from Mordor, probably with one of the Greenwood Archers, canceling any nasty shadow effects with the Hasty Stroke, and went ahead and killed it with our copious attack power that we had remaining. So those were the decks. The only thing from deck 2 that we really didn't see was Celebrian Stone, and we had the option to pull it up with the Mirror of Galadriel several times, I just chose the tree people every single time because the tree people seemed like a better choice. Get another Sylvan ally into play rather than get Aragorn 2 more willpower and a spirit icon. The Weaver recycling the tree people was, of course, critical, and the mirror drawing the tree people that had just been shuffled back in was also critical. But still, that's the core of a Sylvan deck, and it worked just fine. So, with a little bit of tuning, this deck could probably be useful for regular play, um, except for the fact that the Silver Harps are all sitting over here. Probably what I'd do is I'd drop Protector of Lorien, which was, oh, I mean, what I don't really have is a good defender in this Sylvan deck. That could be problematic. But if I drop Protector of Lorien and move the Silver Harps over, I still need to find something to put the Ring of Barahir, to drop to get the Ring of Barahir over here as well. Just to give Aragorn his lore icon. I don't know. With a little bit of tweaking, I think these decks could be useful for general play, rather than just the narrative we've been using them for. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed watching. Our next quest will be Conflict at the Carrack, so tune in soon to see what we have in store for there. I've already got some intriguing deck ideas that I'm getting excited about, so I hope you will be excited as well. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.